Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching. So, today I would like to talk about power creep in comics, specifically focusing on Marvel's flagship character, Spider Man, who I find to be one of the most well written characters in Marvel Comics. I wouldn't consider him to be my favorite character, although I have not decided who my favorite Marvel character is. There are so many good choices. But as a fan of Spider Man, I personally decided to focus on him and Power Creep because I feel like that the character's power set has been amplified to such an extent to where it compromises the core concept of the character and previously established situations and feats concerning the character. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is power creep? The term power creep is primarily used in video games. A power creep is used to refer when material gets added or fixed in a way that makes previously existing material seem unfeasible or incapable. For example, let's say there's a fighting game and there's a character that is much weaker than the other characters and seems useless. And there is a DLC update or a patch at which this character that is weaker than the other characters becomes 10 times stronger than the other characters. This is power creep. The character suddenly has become much more capable. It has become so capable to an extent where it seems overpowered and the other characters no longer stand a chance. And this concept, although it mainly seems to originate in video gaming, can be used to apply to many other mediums. Such in the case of comics, it's mainly Spider-Man, which is I'm focusing on. Now, the concept of power creep in comics is nothing new. You have my favorite superhero of any comic book label, Superman, being power creep from his golden age self being just much stronger than the average human to the silver age in which he can move planets and go extremely fast is a earlier example of power creep. And throughout time, the character of Spider-Man, who was created in the 1960s, it has become Marvel's flagship character and arguably the most profitable character in all of comics, has also been subjected to power creep. Spider-Man started off as a fictional reflection of the turbulence of the teenage experience and the turbulence of life, adversity in general. Spider Man is often depicted as a tragic character who goes through much adversity in life, and he often is confronted against much stronger physically stronger opponents, and he often has to use his strength and or speed and coordination and strategy to overcome physically stronger opponents. Now, this concept has become contradictory because Spider Man's power set has been amplified to such an extent to where he can physically combat characters that have been explicitly shown to be previously more powerful than him. And it contradicts the narrative of Spider Man being an underdog character that has to use strength, speed and strategy to overcome physically stronger opponents. Now, Spider Man has had examples of plot armor, in which plot armor refers to when a character is allowed to prevail in a situation where they normally should not prevail. Such as in this panel where Spider Man lifts a object he normally shouldn't be able to lift to get out of the predicament he is in. Now, this is usually just a situational occurrence, but Spider Man's power set has been generally amped so much so that this isn't just mere plot armor, this is power creep. For example, Spider Man has been shown to be able to knock out a T Rex in one punch, yet he struggled with the lizard, who is just a man a human-sized man with the powers of a lizard. As you can see in these comic panels, Spider-Man has harmed himself trying to punch the lizard, and Spider-Man has to use his speed and coordination and strategy to prevail against the lizard. So you see that how contradictory this is, because Spider-Man can beat a giant T-Rex, a really big creature, in one hit, yet he harms himself fighting against a human-sized individual that has the powers of a lizard. And then you see with the Scorpion, a physically powerful opponent, yet in later comics, you can see that Spider-Man was able to punch the jaw off the Scorpion, which is contradictory to how the Scorpion was made to be physically superior to Spider-Man. And one really absurd example is how Spider-Man was able to punch the Hulk into outer space when in one of the earliest confrontations of the Hulk versus Spider-Man, Spider-Man hurts himself trying to hit the Hulk. Not only does Spider-Man not do any damage of the Hulk to the Hulk in this instance, he harms himself trying to fight against the Hulk. And then you have this situation where Spider-Man uses his reflexes to dodge against the extremely close range of a shotgun blast while he is innervated. Yet he struggles against a foreigner who is just a well-trained human martial artist, which again is very contradictory. So Spider-Man, while tired, has the ability to dodge against a shotgun blast at an extremely close range, yet he struggles with a well-trained human martial artist. Spider-Man's strength and speed and coordination has been amplified to such a high extent that it contradicts previously established situations about the character's ability. I feel like this has reduced Spider-Man to an underdog character that uses his strength, speed, and strategy to overcome physically superior opponents to just flagship plot device whose abilities can be amplified to an absurd extent just to depict a situation that the creative team has decided that to happen. You know, if Spider-Man is strong enough to punch the Hulk into space, he shouldn't be in much danger in a situation like the Sinister War, which is a large-scale battle between Spider-Man villains. But that's all I really had to say. I really feel like the increasing of Spider-Man's power set has really become contradictory and detrimental to the character. Like I said, it turned him from an underdog who uses his strength, speed, coordination, and strategy to overcome adverse situations, and it made him into just a plot device with a randomized power set. I really feel like that this is harmful and contradictory to the narrative of Marvel Comics flagship characters. Anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you all for watching.